Just like I thought. This paperwork is garbage.
Just like I thought, this paperwork is garbage. The words hung in the air like smoke. Derek Connolly didn't whisper them, didn't hide behind professionalism or coded language. He said it loud enough for the 11 people in Mercy General's donor waiting area to hear every syllable. Dr. Marcus Thompson stood perfectly still. His hand rested on the counter where his lab results lay scattered. $240 worth of testing, current, complete, rejected. Rain dripped from his jacket onto the hospital floor. 47 years of living while Black had taught him this dance. Stay calm. Don't react. Don't give them the excuse they're fishing for. Derek's pale fingers drummed against the laminate. His $180 Nikes squeaked as he shifted his weight. The navy scrubs he wore cost $95, the premium kind with moisture-wicking technology. Everything about him screamed authority, order, control, everything except his eyes. Those told a different story. "Your paperwork's expired," Derek announced, loud enough to perform for his audience. "Come back when you've got something current." Marcus bent to gather his results from the floor. "These are dated October 23rd. Today's the 27th. Your own protocol allows 7-day windows for—" "Protocol changed." Derek crossed his arms. "Everything's same day now. Hospital policy." The lie came smooth, practiced. This wasn't Derek's first performance. Imagine walking into a place designed to save lives, and the person at the desk sees you as the threat. Most people don't know how common this is, but it changes everything. "I can test here," Marcus offered quietly. "Your lab closes at 6. That's 90 minutes. Derek's jaw tightened. The request was reasonable, protocol compliant, impossible to deny without exposing the game. Around them, donors pretended to scroll phones while hanging on every word. An elderly Black woman gripped her purse tighter. A college student's thumb hovered over her phone's record button. "Fine." Derek made the word sound like a slur. "Let's see what we're really working with." Before we go further, have you ever been judged before you even opened your mouth? Drop a comment. We're building something here. The testing room smelled like bleach and bad decisions. Marcus rolled up his sleeve without being asked. His veins rose prominent and perfect. 23 years of regular donation made him a phlebotomist's dream. Easy access, clean draw, 0 complications. Derek snapped on gloves with theatrical aggression, each movement designed to communicate displeasure to remind Marcus who held power in this 6-by-8-foot room. "Don't move," Derek commanded. Marcus hadn't moved. The blood draw should have taken 90 seconds. Derek made it last 4 minutes, checking equipment twice, adjusting the tourniquet 3 times, making Marcus's arm wait in compressed discomfort. Small cruelties, the kind that don't leave marks but accomplish the mission. When Derek finally withdrew the vial, his expression shifted. Something flickered behind his eyes. Not pleasure, not satisfaction. Something closer to irritation. "Wait here." He disappeared into the lab corridor. Through the small window, Marcus watched other technicians move with purpose and care. A young Latina woman, Rosa Martinez, according to her name badge, emerged from the testing area, her face bright with something unexpected. Hope. She opened the door. "Dr. Thompson?" Derek appeared behind her instantly. "I've got this, Rosa." "But his blood type is—" "I said I've got this." Derek's voice carried an edge that made Rosa's smile die. She glanced at Marcus with something that looked like apology, then disappeared back into the lab. Derek closed the door, stood there holding the test results. His face had gone carefully blank. "AB negative," he finally said. "The rarest type, universal plasma donor, the kind of blood that saves lives during trauma, during surgery, during the emergencies that fill hospital ERs every night." "That's why I donate regularly," Marcus said. "Every 8 weeks for the past. We need to complete additional screening." Derek cut him off. Standard procedure for new donors. I'm not a new donor. I've given here 42 times. Not according to our system. Derek's smile was thin, cruel. Must be a computer error. These things happen. What Marcus didn't know, couldn't know yet, was that Derek had just deleted his entire donor history. 42 donations, 23 years of records, erased with 6 keystrokes while standing in that hallway. People like Derek don't just discriminate once. They build systems. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Subscribe so you never miss how these patterns play out. Wait in the recovery area, Derek instructed. This might take a while. Marcus moved to the small room where orange juice and cookies waited on plastic trays. Through the glass partition, he watched Derek move through the donor wing with purpose. Watched him unlock a drawer at the nurse's station. Watched him glance around, checking sight lines, calculating angles. Watched him pocket something small. Then Derek disappeared into the back hallway where donation suites lined both walls. The area where donors left their personal belongings during procedures. The area without security cameras. A blind spot everyone on staff knew about but administration had never bothered to fix. Derek was gone for 3 minutes. When he returned, his posture had changed, shoulders back, confidence restored. The cruel satisfaction of someone who'd just won a game the other player didn't know they were playing. "Dr. Thompson?" Derek's voice carried across the donor wing. "We're ready for you." Station 3. The donation itself was textbook. Marcus watched his blood flow through clear tubing, thinking about the patients who might receive it. The accident victims. The surgery cases. The people who wouldn't care about the color of his skin when his blood was keeping their hearts beating. All finished. Derek disconnected the line, pressed gauze to Marcus's arm with unnecessary force. "You can go. We'll be in touch." Marcus stood slowly, post-donation protocol, letting his blood pressure stabilize. He'd brought juice boxes in his messenger bag, knew the drill, had done this 127 times across his adult life. That's when Derek started shouting. "Security! I need security now!" Marcus turned. Derek stood at the nurse's station, his face a mask of theatrical shock, pointing at an open drawer. Around them, donors looked up from magazines. Staff emerged from offices. Rosa Martinez appeared in the lab doorway, her expression confused. "My phone's gone," Derek announced. "My wallet. They were locked in this drawer 15 minutes ago." Rosa moved closer. "Derek, are you sure? Maybe you—" "I'm sure." Derek's eyes found Marcus. Right before he went to the donation suite, right before he was alone back there. Understanding crashed over Marcus like ice water. This wasn't incompetence. This was architecture. Premeditated, calculated destruction. "I didn't take anything," Marcus said quietly. "Then you won't mind if we check." Derek's smile was poison. Some say what happened next was justified protocol. Others call it pure evil. Drop your take in the comments. We need to hear from you. 2 security guards arrived within minutes. Young men in their 20s, uncomfortable but trained to follow procedure. One was James Butler, a name that would matter later, though nobody knew it yet. "Sir, we need to search your belongings," James said, his voice apologetic. Marcus handed over his messenger bag without resistance. They searched methodically while a dozen witnesses watched in silence. Medical textbooks, juice boxes, a wallet containing Marcus's own cards and cash. Nothing suspicious, nothing stolen. "Check his jacket," Derek insisted. "Sir, we don't have grounds to—" "Check his jacket or I'm calling the real police." James and his partner exchanged glances. Marcus stood still as they patted down his worn leather jacket. Left pocket, right pocket, inside breast pocket, where they found Derek's iPhone 15 and fossil leather wallet. The room went silent. Marcus opened his mouth, but what could he say? Evidence didn't care about innocence. The facts were simple. Stolen items in his possession. Derek's testimony. Security footage showing Marcus alone in the hallway. The same hallway Derek had walked through 3 minutes earlier. The timing conveniently edited out of the narrative Derek was constructing. "Call the police," Derek said softly. "Victory complete." Now. The college student from the waiting room, her name was Sarah Chen, pre-med, 47,000 TikTok followers, hit record on her phone. Captured everything. The cuffs, the questions, Marcus's quiet dignity as they led him through the main entrance while donors and patients watched. Captured Derek Connolly standing at the donor wing entrance, arms crossed, smile small and satisfied. He had no idea that moment was being uploaded to the internet, had no idea it would go viral in 48 hours, had no idea that 6 days later, his entire world would end on Kennedy Boulevard. And he definitely had no idea that the man he just destroyed would be the only thing standing between him and death. If you think this is over, you haven't been paying attention. Subscribe. The next part will shock you. The charges took 24 hours to collapse. Marcus's attorney, a civil rights specialist named Jennifer Washington, tore Derek's story apart with surgical precision. The timeline didn't work. The phone's location data, pulled directly from Apple's servers, proved it had been stationary in the supply room, exactly where Derek had been alone, before appearing in Marcus's jacket. Security footage showed Derek's 3-minute disappearance, showed him checking angles, showed everything except the actual planting, which happened in the camera's only blind spot. The district attorney apologized. The arrest was expunged, but the damage spread like cancer through Marcus's life. His consulting contract with Mercy General, suspended. His name in the police blotter, picked up by local news. 3 patients switching providers, their voices apologetic but final. His 10-year-old daughter coming home from school, asking why her friends were talking about her daddy being arrested. And Derek? Written warning, bias training, 2 weeks paid suspension. He celebrated that night at Miller's Bar and Grill, laughed with colleagues about Marcus's face as they led him away in cuffs, ordered another round of $8 beers and $12 wings, stayed until last call, left at 11:34 p.m. in his $25,000 Dodge Charger, ran the red light on Kennedy Boulevard at 11:47 p.m. Never saw the semi-truck? The physics were brutal. Rollover collision, passenger side crushed, steering column through Derek's abdomen. He lost consciousness at the scene, his blood pressure dropping with every second while firefighters cut him from the wreckage. Mercy General's trauma team activated while he was still trapped in twisted metal. They rushed him to OR 3. Dr. Sarah Chen, chief trauma surgeon, 15 years experience, hands that had pulled hundreds of people back from death, opened Derek's abdomen and found devastation. Ruptured spleen, lacerated liver, torn vessels pumping blood faster than they could replace it. "Type him," Sarah commanded. "Now." 4 minutes later, the lab result came back with a notation that made the attending go pale. AB negative, the rarest blood type, the type they'd been critically low on for 8 days, the type Derek himself had been systematically preventing through rejection of qualified donors. "How much do we have?" Sarah asked, her hands working to stop bleeding that wouldn't stop. 2 units, maybe 3 if we pull from satellite storage. He needs 12 minimum, probably more. What happened next would have been funny if it wasn't so tragic. The blood bank director started calling every hospital within 100 miles. Everyone was depleted. Everyone was running on emergency reserves after the storm system that had caused 17 accidents across Tampa the previous week. They pulled the donor registry. 15 AB negative names, 5 out of state. 4 medically ineligible, 3 not answering phones. 2 had moved, 1 name remained. Dr. Marcus Thompson, the same man Derek had sabotaged, arrested, tried to destroy. Have you ever had to help someone who hurt you? Tell me in the comments. This is the moment that defines everything. Dr. Patricia Morrison from Blood Bank made the call with shaking hands. She'd seen the viral video, knew what Derek had done, understood exactly what she was asking. Dr. Thompson, this is Patricia Morrison from Mercy General Blood Bank. We have a critical emergency. A patient in active surgery needs AB negative blood. We're completely depleted. You're the last viable donor in the region. I know what Derek Connolly did to you. I know you have every reason to refuse, but I'm begging. What's the patient's status? Marcus's voice was calm. Professional, already moving. Critical, multiple organ damage. Without transfusion in 20 minutes, he won't survive. 3 seconds of silence. 3 seconds that felt like years. I'll be there in 12 minutes. He didn't ask who the patient was, didn't demand apologies or acknowledgement, didn't mention the arrest, the humiliation, the damage that was still rippling through his life. He simply said yes, because that's what the oath meant, even when everything screamed to say no. Marcus arrived in 8 minutes, breaking speed limits to get there. He wore Georgetown Medical School sweatpants and an old t-shirt, had been reading to his daughter when the call came. Rosa Martinez was the phlebotomist, her eyes red from crying. Dr. Thompson. Not now, Rosa. We have a life to save first. Dr. Sarah Chen met him at the ICU entrance, still in blood-stained surgical scrubs, her face showing exhaustion and desperation. Dr. Thompson, thank God, we don't have time for the donation suite. We need direct transfusion, now. The patient is crashing. We've stabilized what we can, but he needs blood immediately or he won't make it through the next hour. Direct bedside transfusion. Marcus understood immediately. Emergency protocol. Rare. Reserved for situations where every second counted. Yes, we've already prepped the room. Rosa will handle the line. They brought Marcus directly to Derek's ICU room. The racist nurse lay unconscious, pale as death, monitors beeping with numbers that were barely holding stable. Rosa Martinez was already there, her hands steady despite the tears in her eyes. Dr. Thompson, we're doing a direct arm-to-arm emergency transfusion. You'll need to lie beside him. Marcus didn't look at the other bed. He turned to Rosa. How long? Marcus asked quietly. At least 45 minutes. Maybe an hour. We need to transfer enough volume to stabilize him until we can get more units from the regional bank. Marcus nodded, climbed onto the bed beside Derek, lay down next to the man who'd called him your kind. The man who'd planted evidence in his pocket. The man who'd smiled while police put him in handcuffs. Rosa inserted the needle into Marcus's vein with perfect technique, connected the direct line. Within seconds, his blood, rare, precious, life-saving, began flowing through transparent tubing directly into Derek Connolly's arm. Vitals are stabilizing, Dr. Chen reported from the monitors. Blood pressure rising. Keep it going. Marcus lay there, arm extended, watching his blood flow into his enemy. The room was quiet except for the soft beeping of monitors and the gentle hum of medical equipment. Who's the patient? Marcus asked as his blood trickled down the giving set. Rosa's voice cracked. It's Derek. Marcus's eyes closed. The universe had a devastating sense of irony. He doesn't deserve this, Rosa whispered. Doesn't deserve you coming back. Doesn't deserve to live because... It's not about deserving, Marcus said quietly. It's about doing what's right when the person who benefits wouldn't do the same. 2 hours later, Derek's eyes opened slowly, fighting through medication fog. Morning light streamed through the ICU window. His body ached everywhere. Breathing hurt. Thinking hurt. Then he felt it. The pull in his arm. The slight pressure. He turned his head and froze. Dr. Marcus Thompson lay beside him on the same bed. Right there, less than a foot away. Their arms extended between them, connected by clear tubing. Blood, bright red, unmistakable, flowing through that tubing from Marcus's vein directly into his own. Derek's eyes went wide, his breath caught. He stared at the tubing, followed it from Marcus's arm to his own, watched the blood moving through it in real time, living, flowing, saving him. "No," Derek whispered. His voice came out broken. "No, no, no." Marcus turned his head on the pillow, met Derek's eyes. "Welcome back." Derek couldn't look away from the blood, from the literal life flowing from the man he'd tried to destroy directly into his veins. "Why?" The word came out as a gasp. "Why are you—" "Because you needed it. Because I have it." Marcus's voice was steady, calm. "Because this is what I swore to do. I tried to destroy you." Derek's eyes filled with tears, his gaze fixed on their connected arms, on the blood, Marcus's blood, keeping his heart beating. "Yes, you did. I planted evidence, got you arrested, wanted to see you suffer." Derek's voice broke completely. "And you're lying here, beside me. Your blood it's inside me. It's keeping me alive." "Yes." Derek began to sob, his whole body shaking, still staring at the transfusion line between them. "I don't deserve this. I don't deserve your blood. I don't deserve to live because of you." Marcus was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice carried weight that went beyond medicine. "Derek, do you know what I actually do? My real job?" "You're a hematologist." "I'm the director of blood services research at Tampa General. I developed the rapid transfusion protocols used in 43 states, published 78 papers, won the National Medical Service Award in 2019 for increasing minority donor participation by 340%. I've donated blood 127 times in my life." Marcus paused. Let that sink in. "I've saved approximately 381 lives through direct donation. You tried to stop a man whose entire existence is built around making sure people like you get the blood they need when they need it." Derek's face crumpled, tears streaming down his cheeks as he stared at their connected arms. "And when you needed it," Marcus continued softly, "when you were dying and needed my blood, the exact same rare blood type you tried to turn away, I came anyway. I'm lying here right now, in this bed, beside you, giving you my blood. Not because you deserve it, but because doing what's right doesn't depend on whether the person who benefits would do the same." Derek couldn't speak, could only stare at the blood flowing between them, at the undeniable, visible proof of grace he didn't earn, at the life being given to him by the man he'd tried to destroy. "I'm sorry," he finally choked out. "God, I'm so sorry." "Sorry doesn't fix what you did, doesn't repair the damage, doesn't undo the arrest or the humiliation." Marcus turned his head back toward the ceiling, arms still extended, blood still flowing. "But sorry can be a beginning, if you mean it, if you're willing to do the actual work." "What work?" "Understanding why you did this, why you chose cruelty, why you saw my skin color before you saw my humanity, and then changing, actually changing, not just saying words." Derek nodded, unable to speak past the tears. "Your nursing license is under review," Marcus continued. "The hospital board meets next week. Given the evidence, the planted phone, the false arrest, the deliberate sabotage of donor services, you'll likely lose it. Maybe permanently. I deserve that." "Yes, you do. But Derek, here's what I want you to understand. You have a choice now. You can let this destroy you, or you can let it transform you. You can spend the rest of your life defending your actions, or you can spend it making amends, real amends, work that matters. How? That's for you to figure out. But know this, I'll be watching. And if you choose transformation, if you choose to actually become the person you claim to be, I'll help. Not because you deserve it, because everyone deserves a chance to be better than their worst moment. Marcus stood to leave. Derek's voice stopped him. Why? Why would you help me? Because 23 years ago, I was an angry medical resident who made a mistake that almost killed a patient. A senior doctor, a white man who'd grown up in Alabama in the 1950s, who'd lived through segregation and could have written me off, gave me a second chance. Told me the same thing I'm telling you. Your worst moment doesn't have to define your life. I'm here because of his grace. You're here because of mine. Now you have to decide what you'll do with it. Subscribe if you believe people can change, or comment if you think some things are unforgivable. I need to know where you stand. The hospital board met 7 days later. The evidence was overwhelming. Derek's nursing license was revoked, the decision unanimous. But something unusual happened. Dr. Marcus Thompson testified on Derek's behalf, not to excuse the actions, not to minimize the harm, but to argue for rehabilitation over permanent banishment, to offer a pathway back. 2 years of documented community service in underserved healthcare, completion of certified implicit bias intervention. Written testimony from minority healthcare workers regarding demonstrated change. After 2 years, reapplication would be considered. Derek Connolly chose the work. 5 years later, the Thompson-Connolly Center for Inclusive Healthcare opened at Mercy General. The name pairing victim and perpetrator was controversial, but Marcus insisted. Transformation requires witnesses, he explained at the dedication. Derek's journey from perpetrator to advocate is part of the story. Erasing his name erases the possibility that anyone can change. Derek stood at the back, no longer a nurse, now a healthcare equity consultant. His 5-year record was documented and extraordinary, 2,400 hours of community service, testimony before state boards about systemic racism, development of donor outreach programs that increased minority participation by 67% in Tampa, written apologies to 17 people of color he'd discriminated against. 7 had forgiven him, 10 had not. All received his apologies anyway. The center's first program launched that week, fellowships for healthcare workers from underrepresented communities. 20 positions fully funded. Among the first cohort, Miguel Sanchez, night custodian for 12 years, who held a medical degree from Cuba. Within 6 months, he'd passed U.S. licensing exams and joined Mercy General's internal medicine staff. James Butler, the security guard who'd searched Marcus's pockets during the arrest. Bachelor's degree in public health, working overnight to support his mother. The fellowship gave him a path to healthcare administration. Within 3 years, he'd be Derek's direct supervisor. Rosa Martinez published research on donor retention in minority communities. Her data proved what Marcus knew. Representation matters, but dignity matters more. 17 states adopted her protocols. Donor participation among people of color increased 43% nationally over 5 years. All because one man chose to come back when everything said, stay away. One afternoon, 5 years and 7 months after the accident, Derek received an email. Subject line, full circle. Derek, there's a young nurse at Mercy General, first year, Mexican immigrant. Yesterday, a senior attending spoke to her the way you once spoke to me. She's considering quitting. I told her about us. She wants to meet you. Would you be willing? Derek's response took 5 seconds. When and where? Elena Ruiz sat across from Derek at a corner coffee shop. 26 years old, daughter of farm workers, first in her family to attend college. Her story was already familiar. The discrimination, the dismissal, the exhaustion of constantly proving worth. Why did Dr. Thompson save you? She finally asked. Because he took an oath. Because he's better than I was. Because he believes people can change. Derek leaned forward. Elena, you don't have to quit. There's a network now. People who've survived what you're surviving. You're not alone. The attending said I only got hired because of diversity quotas. Derek's jaw tightened. He'd said similar words once. The shame was permanent. What are your actual qualifications? Top of my class. NCLEX on first try, 98th percentile, critical care certification after 2 years of additional study. Then you're not here because of quotas. You're here because you're exceptional, and someone's threatened by that. Derek pulled out his phone. I'm giving you 3 names, people who will fight for you. Dr. Thompson, Rosa Martinez, James Butler. All of them have your back. Why would they do that for me? Because someone fought for me when I didn't deserve it. Because transformation spreads, one person, one choice, one moment of grace at a time. Elena stayed. 3 years later, she'd be head nurse in the Thompson Connolly Center, overseeing the fellowship program that helped 17 healthcare workers advance their careers. The cycle continued. Multiplied, transformed. Right now, in hospitals across America, moments like Derek's are happening. A nurse sees a patient's accent and assumes ignorance. A doctor dismisses credentials from unfamiliar schools. An administrator overlooks qualified candidates because their names are difficult to pronounce. The National Healthcare Workforce Analysis shows 42% of hospital service workers speak multiple languages. 58% of recent immigrant healthcare workers hold advanced degrees from their home countries. The talent exists everywhere, invisible only because systems aren't designed to see it. Marcus Thompson almost vanished. Would have stayed invisible, his expertise erased by Derek's racism. But he came back anyway. Not because Derek deserved it, because the work mattered more than the wound. Tomorrow you'll encounter someone who seems out of place, someone whose credentials you might question. You'll have a choice. You can be Derek, certain in your biases, comfortable in cruelty, or you can be Derek, broken open by grace, transformed by mercy you didn't earn. Better still, you can be Marcus, the one who sees clearly from the start, who recognizes worth regardless of packaging, who shows up when every reason exists to stay away. When were you underestimated? When did someone see past your surface? Comment below with your story. Share this if you believe everyone deserves to be seen as a person, not a category. Subscribe for stories proving change is always possible when we choose the work. The question isn't whether people can transform. The question is whether we'll give them space to do it. Because the person you destroy today might save your life tomorrow. The colleague you dismiss might be the expert you desperately need. Worth exists independent of your recognition. But transformation only happens when someone chooses to see you, really see you, and offers a chance anyway. Marcus offered that chance. Derek took it. Elena benefited from it. Now it's your turn. Who will you see today?